First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello and welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. There is another rainy shot. I'm going to be doing that all day. So if you're watching Fox 12 Now today, I keep pulling up each one of our cameras that have a ton of rain all over them, but that's part of what we're going to be discussing here today. Hello, I'm Greg Nibbler, like I mentioned, and it is Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. So that means it is time for Eric G. from Around the House Northwest to join us, to bestow his knowledge and logic upon us. And from what I understand, I'm just going to say this, I heard we might have some breaking news on this episode. And
you got it. We got some breaking news for you, brother.
Eric has breaking news for us. So we're covering a bunch of things on this. As always, towards the end, too, we'll preview this week's episode of Around the House Northwest. But Eric, I want you to start this off here because I don't know how you want to lead into this. I actually don't know what it is, but I'm going to let you take it away.
So let's talk breaking news on smart home tech. Let's just start out heavy right from the beginning. So there has been a quiet group of people out there which has put together all these companies that are in our homes today, and it's called the Home Connectivity Alliance. And actually, it's based in Beaverton, Oregon, which is hilarious. But what they're doing is they're finally going to fix what we see as the problems with home connectivity is, and you know this, Greg, I mean, how many apps do you have to have if you've got a Samsung appliance and an LG and they don't talk to each other and you've got 10 apps that don't work together?
Then you got your Philips light bulbs, then you got your Google Home, and then you have your Nest, and then,
and none of it works together. Well, they're putting together a partnership. This happened a lot last year as they kind of started putting this together. And so you've got companies like Electrolux, LG, Samsung, GE, all the different people inside your house, Train, all the different companies out there where they're now going to be sharing connectivity within each other. So like if you have, in concept, if you had a Train heating and cooling unit, it could then access the temperature sensor in your LG television or your Samsung dishwasher.
Yes, that is exactly how it should be.
And now they've come to an agreement just this week where Samsung and LG are going to allow each other to play together and share information. And over the years, those two have not gotten along well. So much so when I'd show up at trade shows, I had to be careful doing interviews because they had security teams keeping these people separated so they wouldn't have a scuffle on the show floor.
It's serious. So, I've been to a lot of consumer electronics shows on that side of the thing. And LG and Samsung, that's, it's like Nike and Adidas. You don't mix the two together usually. So the fact that they're working together, that's amazing because they both make some really good products. Especially they're really good in different areas sometimes too. So to have them all talk together, that's fantastic.
So in theory, you'll be able to jump on an LG app and control your Samsung appliance and vice versa. And so that's going to be huge for home connectivity because I want to have one app that controls everything. I don't want to have to go, oh, okay, that's this brand and I have to go over here.
Right.
And then why do we need to be adding all these sensors when we have probably a dozen of them in our house anyway? We just have to let them all talk together.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too with all of that stuff. Like you want to be able to buy whatever the best product is, not be like, oh, well, I can't buy that one because everything has to match exactly what I have over here, even though this is not the same thing. So now that's better competition between the two companies, which means better products, which means better prices. This is all great. That's great news.
So this is huge. And so basically what they're going to call this is the HCA specification 1.0, and they're all agreeing that they're going to start working together. So we're going to see these things rolling out now because they're into the implementation phase of it where they're going to actually start rolling stuff out where this stuff works together. It's taken them a year just to get people to agree within itself to make sure that they're all communicating the right way. Now they can start putting that to real use.
I can't imagine the attorney hours that took to get that done, but regardless, it's good for us. I didn't realize that organization is based out of Beaverton too. That's really interesting. I had no idea. That's a huge global implication that's happening right here.
Yeah, it's right here in our own backyard. So I keep track of those guys to see what's going on. And that's where that smart home stuff is going to really change how we operate things and make it a lot easier for everybody.
That is great news. Great breaking news. Thank you, Eric.
No problem. Great stuff coming.
Yeah, I could talk about home tech all day long, but I know we've got other things too that we're covering as well.
Exactly. So, it's there's all this stuff falling from the sky that I forgot what it's called that's wet, and all of a sudden everybody's freaking out. And so I thought, let's talk a little more about some of this stuff. Let's first start out talking about the wasps and hornets out there and yellow jackets that are around. They are bad right now.
I have been seeing sorry, I'm having too much fun with the cameras. I've been seeing so many of those out there just in my backyard the other day, and you brought it up that you wanted to talk about that today, and I'm glad you are, because I was trying to figure out why there are so many all of a sudden towards the end of the summer that I'm seeing everywhere. I'm seeing so many yellow jackets.
They're everywhere. And we had a pretty good season this year. And the problem was our winter probably wasn't as cold as it should have been. And so they didn't kill off as many as they have. And now we're getting into nesting season as they're getting aggressive to get ready for winter again. So they're out foraging for food and everything else. And you start the barbecue up, and all of a sudden it seems like 50 of them around you. And I went out and put a couple traps out here over the weekend. I have hundreds of them already trapped.
Ugh, hundreds of them just in that amount of time. We have some footage from previous years of yellow jackets.
Yeah.
See, that just creeps me out even looking at this. I don't even like playing that right now. That's disturbing me.
I don't either. I do not like them. And so we're going to actually talk, and we'll talk about this a little later, but we're going to actually talk with Keith from Pest and Pollinator in our show on Saturday here. We talk with him about, some of the best practices, but really, the thing we have to be careful with is going to grab that can of spray, because if we go up and spray a nest with it and we don't kill all of those, they go out and take, because they're pollinators as well, whether they're wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, they'll go out and land on flowers and stuff, and then those can kill bees. So you have to be a little careful with the chemicals you're using when you're out there trying to get rid of that nest.
That is a very good point. So if you don't get them all, then they're going to be carrying that off and damaging other things.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's a
but
good
I tell
point,
you what, in our area here, I've been trying out 2 different traps myself, and we don't talk about this in the show, but I have one of the nice 3-in-1. I think it's made by Rescue or one of the similar companies out there. That has done pretty well, but for the yellow jackets that are out there flying around, I bought their little single pouch that you cut the top off of and put the water in, and it's got the right pheromones in. And in 24 hours, there had to have been 75 yellow jackets in that trap. It got them quick. And then when I walked out there yesterday, there were still probably 20 flying around it trying to get in it.
Wow. And so what is the name of that one?
That's just one of the Rescue branded traps. It's their little throwaway one. And I can't remember the exact name of it, but you just hang it up. It's a little bag. You can get them at Fred Meyer. You can get them at any hardware store. And you basically just cut the top off of it and throw it out there. And it's just their yellow jacket trap. It works awesome.
Okay, that's great. So grab one of those for the backyard and
exactly.
let the problem take care of itself.
Yeah, and it works well. You can just take care of it, hang it out there, and walk away. And then but the secret is put it out there where you're going to be using it. Like if you've got them showing up, around the barbecue after the barbecue's done, throw that out there. And then, of course, you just want to put it close to where you're seeing them. That way they don't have to go looking for it, and it'll be the most effective.
Okay. All right, great advice. What else should we know?
This time of year is really a good time with the seasons just like light switch clicked, it seemed, from heat wave to, 60 and raining. It's a good time to walk around your house today and go out and check those gutters and make sure things aren't leaking. You don't have pools of water around. But really, if you're going to be starting to do that, that touch-up caulking and painting around the house, now's the time to be doing that, because when it gets below 50 degrees, you don't want to be doing any of that painting stuff outside. And the caulking takes forever to dry when it's under 60. So it's a good time here this next week to go around and get some of that stuff knocked out while the weather's good and you can still do it.
All right. And I know that we covered some of that stuff too a couple of weeks ago. Like, probably it'd be a good time for everybody to go back and revisit that episode where you talked about some of the real important reasons why you need that taken care of. And
it's all about energy efficiency really this year. With our energy rates, it doesn't matter if you're gas or electric out there, you want to be saving as much as you can. No sense throwing useless money away that you be using on something else. All those little steps, from weather stripping to all that other stuff's going to make a difference this winter. And, make sure you take care of those little stuff. If you see daylight under a doorway or something like that, that's like having a window or a door cracked, as far as that much energy you're losing. So you'd be surprised what just a little bit of weather stripping and, $20 at the hardware store can get you.
Well, definitely a great day to go do that then. Yeah, with the weather, especially like it is now, to take a look at all that stuff. Great. Well, any other advice, or should we talk about a preview of this week?
Let's talk about, we got so much going on the show this week. Let's hit that because we got an in-depth show that is jam-packed full of information.
Well, going back to the hornet side of things, you mentioned that you're speaking to an expert.
Yeah, so we've got Keith from Pest and Pollinator. They're really a specialist, with all of those, pests that are flying around. And so what I like about those guys is they do a lot of great stuff out there without using a ton of dangerous chemicals that hurt the bee population. So they really have some great tips in the show for us, and where you can find those nests, and quite frankly, where you want to be staying away from if you're worried about them. He gets some good advice for DIY projects, as well as when do you need to call on the pros and let them do it safely so you don't get hurt or worse.
That's good to know, because I'm sure most people out there have done this before, but if you step on one of those nests, it is not fun. So learning how to recognize that and where to stay away from, like that right there, that doesn't look like a good place to be hanging out in. That's definitely an episode everybody should be checking out.
Yeah, we've got that. And then we actually go back to smart home tech. We've got a new sprinkler system that I installed made by Irrigreen. And this is super cool. It uses inkjet printer technology. So when I set the sprinkler up, I only had to use 2 sprinklers in my backyard, and I use the app to control how far the water goes. And so you could have a 12-point star in your background that was your yard, and it'll only water the grass.
Whoa. Seriously, you could program it that much, just like outline it?
Basically, when you plug this in and get it going, it's super simple to set up. But what you're doing is you open up the app, and then you control how much water sprays out of this, because it's got its own computer built into it. And then you go watch it go around your yard, and you literally program it with your phone with up and down arrows, just like you're using a game controller, of how far you want that water to go. And you can do crazy. You can put in 40 different points around your yard, and it'll connect those two so it stays together. If you've got a radius, it will follow the radius of the yard, all those different things. So it's going to save you a ton of water, and you're not going to overwater places that you don't need it.
Yeah, save a ton of money, and also that just sounds fun. Setting something like that up, trying to figure out what the different crazy configurations that you could do. That's really cool. So you're going to be talking about that on this week's episode.
We've got that one, and that's a fun one there. And then actually, here's another one that's going to be good too. How many people out there have tile and grout that they haven't probably cleaned, or if they've got that 80s or 90s or 2000 grout, that when you go to like move the dishwasher or something, you go, oh, that's a different color. I thought that was.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We all have that, right? So we talk about that, how to clean it, how to restore it, and how to keep it clean again. So we've got my buddy William White, who's a tile expert out there, coming on, and we'll talk about the steps of how to clean it, how to do it safely, and then how to seal it up to make sure you don't have to clean it so often.
Nice. All right, great. All great things coming up on Around the House Northwest for just this week's episode. That's all in one episode.
Oh, yeah. And then we got so much more. We test 2 different tools. I've been jumping on Amazon and buying like $20 and $30 kind of, not the Milwaukee stuff that's behind me. It's like the $20 version of it. And we've been testing it. And, it can be hit and miss, but we do have a 5-star this weekend that you got to check out. That was one of my favorite buys we've had yet.
I like a good bargain, as long as it's a good product. So the fact that you're testing them out for everybody, that's good. But a 5-star, that's a good tease right there for this episode.
Yeah, so, it's I was surprised. When we don't pre-test these things out, so you get my natural reaction when I do this. And it's like, all right, we're taking it out of the box. Let's use it. All I've done is charge it up, so we actually give it a fair shake. And wow, this one was impressive.
All right. And that's and again, all on this week's episode of Around the House Northwest. Anything else that people should know about this one, or where they should watch it?
Yeah, we've got, we're going to also be talking about saving water with the Regional Water Consortium guys over there. So we're talking about how to water your lawn and keep those lawn chemicals out of streams and rivers. So we'll touch base on that as well. But really, you can catch the show 10 a.m. Saturday, Fox 12 Plus. If you miss that because you're out, don't worry. You can get it at 6 p.m. on Sunday, as well as Friday morning, 8 a.m. So tomorrow morning, go over to Fox 12 Plus. You can catch last week's episode if you missed it, and you can catch it all right there. And then, of course, it lives on YouTube.
Yep, on the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel, we have tons of clips, well over 100 at this point, of clips on there that people can go check out and watch on that side of things. So lots of places to find it, but definitely watch it on Fox 12 Plus for when it comes out. Well, like you mentioned, 8 a.m. tomorrow. Watch the replay, and then this weekend you got 2 opportunities to watch the new episode. So, Eric, it's always great to have you on. And appreciate it.
Brother.
Eric's here every week with us every Thursday, 1:30. Usually every Thursday, 1:30. Sometimes schedules change, but generally speaking, you can count on that he's going to be here on Fox 12 now. And thanks also to everybody who's tuning in. I always want to make sure that we say that because we do appreciate it. We've got more coming up here at 2 p.m. Pacific. Today, I'm going to be talking to Jeff from the USO, talking about what they do and how long they've been an organization and really focusing on the local side of things and some of the nonprofit work that they do for service members. So that's coming up at 2 p.m. So come back. Wherever you're watching this right now, just come right back there and you can join in. Eric, as always, thanks.
Thanks, brother.
And for everybody, I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.